Hello and welcome to episode 12 of Karlene's Anime Corner. This podcast is brought to you by the St. Johns County Public Library. I am very excited to tell you that I have a brand new person on today who has never actually watched an anime before. So we get a little bit nerdy and deep in our discussion, but I hope you all enjoy it a great deal. So strap in, buckle up. We're going to be talking about the romantic comedy Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun, and it is going to be a nerdy blast. Before we get started, though, Ms. Cheryl, would you like to introduce yourself and share what you do here at the library?
Sure. Hello, Karlene. Thank you so much for having me today. I am the Reference and Adult Services Librarian here at the Southeast Branch. I have been involved in creating programs, but this is my first podcast I've ever done, so I'm pretty excited.
You're doing great so far.
Thank you. I can remember my name and my title. That's the most important things.
Hey, I forgot my name the first one I did.
And I also provide reference services. Pre-COVID, I've had planned programs here and just generally help people. So thank you so much again for having me.
All right. And with COVID going on, you're doing a lot of videos lately and stuff also?
I am, and my coworker and I, Margaret, are known as kind of the resident goofballs of the library. We do a lot of crazy programs, one in which we dressed up as crabs and cooked pasta carbonara.
I remember that one. The crab dance was fantastic.
So keeping it fun, keeping it light, highlighting and shining a spotlight on certain books and movies that we liked, and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, I assigned you an anime to watch this time, but I'm actually not sure. Have you ever watched an anime series before?
Well, does Pokemon count?
Technically, yes.
Okay.
It is an anime, so Pokemon counts. Other than Pokemon, though, have you ever watched anything?
No. This is my first foray into the world of anime.
And I gave you a fun one to watch with a lot of anime parody and insider things, so we'll see how you like that. Let me go ahead and share what anime we watched today so everybody will be on the same page we are. We went ahead and watched Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun, which is a romantic comedy. It is available on Netflix, Crunchyroll, and HiDive for streaming, so easy to find out there on the internet. Now, Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun is a 12-episode series that aired in 2014. The animation studio is Doga Kobo, and I went through their list of animes that they've done, and I haven't watched any of them, but a lot of the names were familiar, so they're definitely a well-established studio. It was directed by Mitsui Yamazaki. In this anime, high school student Chiyo Sakura has a crush on schoolmate Nozaki, but when she confesses, he mistakes her as a fan since he is secretly a manga artist. He invites her to help make his manga, and she agrees in order to get closer to him. And in the process, she meets all the other crazy inspirations that he has throughout the school. So, Miss Cheryl, what did you think of your first anime series overall?
It was very interesting.
Did you find it funny at least? Because it's a romantic comedy. So.
I did. In my notes, I wrote funny episode on quite a few of them.
Okay.
So I enjoyed the comedic elements for sure. I have the cast of characters was very complex and interesting as well.
A lot of characters in this one.
Yes. What did throw me a little bit was the changing names that some characters had depending on honorifics or nicknames, first versus last names. So I wrote a bunch of questions about that, but I'm sure that you'll be enlightening me.
Possibly a little bit. We'll see. We'll see. So I also greatly enjoyed the series. There were moments that were really funny. And in general, it was well animated. They didn't take a whole ton of shortcuts. I mean, every anime has a bit of shortcuts unless it's a movie. But I won't ding them for that because we're trying to get these out on a weekly basis. I found a lot of the characters interesting and fun to watch, particularly a lot of the background characters are some of my favorites. We'll discuss those a little bit further on. Mm-hmm. If you had to give this a rating out of 5 stars, what would your rating be?
I would give it a 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
For anime.
For an anime.
And a 3 out of 5 according to my personal taste and inclinations.
Okay, well that makes sense. I'm going to give this one a 3.5. So there are reasons why it didn't quite make it to the 4-star. And according to my personal rating scale, this should probably have been more of a 3, but I gave it that extra half because I did actually laugh out loud several times. So, but I'm probably never going to rewatch it, and I'm probably not going to buy it on disc. So, which is usually my criteria for a 4, is it's a rewatch or I'll buy it.
That's a good criteria.
Yeah. So, anyway, let's go ahead and spoiler warning, people. We are headed into spoiler session. Miss Cheryl, what did you think of the relationship between Nozaki-kun and Chiyo, or Sakura, however you want to call her?
Well, not to disparage Nozaki too much, but at one point I actually wrote sociopath ?
I have seen him described more as stoic.
Okay,
not
yes.
necessarily straight up sociopath.
That might be a bit harsh.
Yeah. He does not emote much at all.
No, I also put inscrutable and where's his sense of romance, because he's got this feisty, adorable girl who is at his beck and call at every moment, and he's just ignoring her throughout the entire series.
Well, and part of that, I think, might be a little bit of the fact that he is a famous manga artist. The funny part, he's not just a famous manga artist, he's a famous shoujo manga artist. So he writes romantic love stories, and yet can't figure out that this girl's in love with him.
There is a sweet irony to be found there.
There
for
is a very
sure.
sweet irony. I love that one. I also love the fact that he's constantly using her as a inspiration for his manga, like how to ride a bicycle scene was.
Oh, that was really cute.
That episode is the one that made me go, okay, you and I are watching this, because I hadn't actually watched the rest of the anime yet. Just to let you know before I signed this to you.
And he was also lovingly attacked by a pile of cats in that episode.
Yes.
Anytime you add animals, for me, it's a bonus for sure.
Cats are always a bonus. And then I just love the fact that he's like, we have to figure out how to do a romantic bicycle scene when I can't show 2 people sharing a bike like on the handlebars because it's illegal now in Japan, apparently. And so the tandem bike was an interesting touch. And I'm still not sure how Chiyo felt about that one at the very end.
Right? Yeah, that was also, they talked about the rules of manga. And I don't know if that was more in a casual way. I tried and really couldn't find anything online.
I don't really know much about how manga is made in Japan and what kind of rules they have. I'm kind of curious if they don't have something like we used to have in the States, the Comics Code Authority, where it was kind of an unwritten, we don't show anything like this because it's possibly going to encourage bad behavior type idea.
Oh, okay.
Because it's aimed at a younger age. So that could be why he's not allowed to show people smoking. He's not allowed to show people breaking the law by riding on the handlebars of a bicycle. So that's kind of where I was going, is that it might be like an unofficial kind of like Comics Code Authority type thing.
Okay.
Which, if you guys are interested, listeners, the Comics Code Authority actually doesn't really exist anymore. But it has a very interesting history, and it's the reason why comics got a little weird in the 60s.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Because they thought comics were causing kids to become delinquents.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Kind of like the video games of today.
Yes, actually it's like the video games of today. So it's the same thing with the ESRB ratings. It's the exact same type thing.
I really liked Miko Shiba.
Mikorin?
Yes, the Mikorin, the insecure flirt.
Yes, he comes out with these one-liners, makes every girl blush and squeal, and then he has to go hide in a corner because he's so embarrassed he said that. I don't think he actually has ever interacted with a girl before Chiyo, to be honest, because he always does it from a distance, like from a window or far away or something. He never does it one-on-one, so I think Chiyo is really the first real-life girl he's ever talked to.
Yeah, and I got an inkling, or towards the end of the series, when they're at the summer festival, is there perhaps a spark between them? But, yeah.
Could be. It's a romance manga. Could be, because you never know. One of the things about shoujo is it tends to concentrate a lot on relationships, which you'll notice through this. There's a lot of relationships of people, good, bad, in between, who knows. And it's all about, like, there's even the working relationship between Nozaki and his editor. And they concentrate a lot on that, not so much on, like, high-octane action. We're not going to, like, do these massive dramatic plots. It's all relationship drama.
And that's very appealing to me because that's the kind of films that I tend to watch.
Yeah.
You know, character development, relationship based. So I think that was part of the reason why I liked this as much as I did. My favorite character, though, is Kashima, the prince of the school. She's a lady killer. She kicks butt. I love her.
No, she is fabulous. Kashima and Hori are the two, it's the one relationship in the series I actually really kind of cared about and really liked. Hori is the president of the drama club, and Kashima is his main actress, because she tends to play a lot of the male roles, so she dresses up as a prince. And because she's got to be, 6 feet tall? She is taller than everybody except Nozaki.
Oh, yeah. Very imposing.
Yes. And she is very definitely, every girl is in love with her because when she dresses up as a prince, she is the most handsome person you've ever seen. And she has that drama flair, which is fabulous. And I loved, my favorite scene is, do you remember the rainy day episode when Kashima is about to leave school and she forgot her umbrella, and all of a sudden there's just this ball of umbrellas as all the girls surround her with their umbrellas. And yet somehow Hori is still able to go, I know Kashima's in the middle of that, and he just reaches in and manages to grab her without, and it's like he has a special Kashima sense.
Yes.
So
they have a very physically demonstrative relationship, and that's putting it very nicely.
Yeah, it's kind of like the anime violence is I care about you trope that happens a lot there. But he does it because she tends to skive off. She's very smart, but she'll tend to like bunk classes, bunk practice. And he's like, no, you are going to behave and do this. So he rides herd on her. And she seems to like him for it, to be honest.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen that relationship develop more, for sure.
Yeah.
I understand the main focus, obviously, but...
Well, now let's talk a little bit how Nozaki deals with all these people and how he sees them. Because are they his friends or his slaves?
Oh, I know.
Because they seem to do a lot of work for him for free.
I feel like he uses everyone, and one of my points I put was, does he only care because he needs inspiration for his manga?
Yes.
You know, it's like...
Because, like, Mikoshiba is his inspiration for his main female character in his game. Not his game, but his manga.
Mamiko, yes.
Yeah, Mamiko. And I don't know who is his inspiration for Suzuki. Maybe because Kashima is somebody else in his manga, and so is Seo. And he also, I love the fact though that, like, he had his friends, quote unquote, stay over for a sleepover, and he proceeds to take all of their conversations and convert it into girl things.
Yeah.
Because he's thinking about having a sleepover episode in his manga.
And then the most creepy aspect, they all try to go to sleep, and he's like, oh, I'll just stand over here, sit over here and watch you while you sleep.
Yes.
So I don't know. He was probably Nozaki was probably my least favorite character.
I hate to admit it, but he was. Even though he's the main character, he was kind of the least interesting because he was so one track on, I'm going to do my manga and I'm going to do it right. Although it was the one time I thought he showed a lot of some emotion was the last 2 episodes. The one with the Valentine's, or was it the last episode that had the Valentine's Day chocolate in the middle of summer? Yeah, it was the last episode.
Yes.
Because Chiyo goes ahead. He runs into Chiyo while she's carrying the Valentine's Day chocolate she found in her fridge that she didn't forget, but was unable to give him in February. And he knocks it on the floor, and he suddenly gets all worried that she's angry. So he's completely misreading her emotions, but he is actually concerned about her emotions.
That's true. It was nice to see some concern.
So I think that's the first time he actually showed that he actually cared a little bit about how she felt, even though he was completely wrong on how she felt. So
can we talk about Ken? I love Ken. His editor is fantastic.
His editor is just like,
and
what?
how
I love, he is just so grumpy but down to earth. And I think in a way Nozaki is right. He is a good editor because he looks at it and he goes, this is garbage. You need to redo this. And he looks at something else and he goes, okay, this is good. So he actually, and he doesn't force his idea of what's good onto Nozaki's manga, but he does know that you can do better than this.
And I love that Nozaki is so enamored of Ken. Like the one person, it's the irony of, like, you know, Chiyo is in love with him and is willing to do anything for him. He pays little to no attention to her, but yet Ken, this, you know, silence type.
Well, once you get to see his former editor.
Oh, yeah. He's a nightmare.
That is a nightmare with the tanukis everywhere.
Yes. And I looked
so
up
you can understand now why Nozaki really likes his current editor and is willing to do anything to keep him.
Yes, for sure. How is it pronounced? Tanuki. I had to look that up. Japanese raccoon dog, which I thought was a bear.
Nope, they are and in Japanese mythology, they're also shapeshifters and trickster characters.
Oh, interesting.
So, they like playing tricks on monks because monks apparently irritate them. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, there were a lot of really great side characters. I liked Yuzuki and Hori. Yeah. But Yuzuki, I also put a note for her. Another sociopath? Seo, yes. Seo.
I kind of like the way Nozaki actually describes her, as in she is so oblivious to the feel of the room and what people are thinking that she just says what she thinks, which is not necessarily nice at all. But I kind of like that idea that she is just so oblivious to everything and also highly competitive.
And good at what she does.
Yeah. I mean, she is the Lorelai of the Glee Club. So, because she can sing like there's no tomorrow. But horrible personality.
Oh, yes. And, yeah, she's very forthright with her opinions. I think it's really funny when they go to the movies, Wakamatsu and her, and she empathizes with the villain in the movie, and she loves gross stuff, which I can relate. I also love gross stuff.
And the fact that she doesn't even remember the name of the main heroine of the movie, because that was not what she was there for. She was not there for the romance. She wasn't there for the drama. She wasn't there for the tragedy. She was there for the villain and the killing.
Right. And he seems to just eat it up. And I believe at one point he even says, is there one redeeming quality to this girl? And he just can't figure out why he likes her so much.
I don't know if Waka actually likes her, because Wakamatsu just seems to... his behavior says he likes her. But the thing is he just doesn't have enough of a spine to say, I don't like you. So he's trying to do it in this roundabout way, which just winds up seeming like he likes her. So... Okay. But I wonder if, because they're always together, she's starting to grow on him in a weird way. I don't know. Because for some reason, Chio and her are also, quote-unquote, friends, and they're completely different people.
Yeah, that's true.
So I still can't decide if this is a romance or just kind of a hostage situation.
Right. Yes, I mean, not to to put down Nozaki too much, but he really, I feel like he's just kind of a user and he's furthering his own aim a lot.
Yeah.
And I felt like the unrequited love at the end, I felt cheated.
Yeah, that's the main reason why this got a 3.5 and might be dropping down to a 3 on me, was they had the whole fireworks scene. He said something, you couldn't hear what he was saying, and it zoomed away, started running some of the credits on the side while you watched the fireworks going and them sitting there. And I was like, this is the perfect ending, because it leaves you in that suspense. Did he actually finally acknowledge the I love you from her or whatever? And then at the very end, they go in and he whisper, and you hear what he whispers to her, which is, I love fireworks too. And I was like, oh, you anime, how dare you?
That was a little bit of a cop out.
Yeah. I have to admit, I was 3/4 expecting it, because this is only a 12 episode series, and I have never actually watched a romance anime that they managed to wrap up in 12 episodes satisfactorily.
Yes. That happens with a lot of series as of late, I feel like.
Yeah, well, and anime has gotten particularly bad because apparently it's like they only plan on 12 episodes, and if it's really popular, we'll make a second season. So a lot of times I feel like I get left hanging waiting for a second season that's never coming, and it's like, just go read the manga now.
Right.
Which there is a manga for this. It's 11 volumes long. Mm-hmm. It has been translated into English. But to be honest, I wasn't invested enough in the story to go hunt it out and read the manga. Good frothy anime to watch on a rainy evening type idea with some good laughs and stuff, but not enough drama where I have to find out, how does it end? Do they get together? Do they not get together? Or anything like that. And from my little reading on the internet, I don't think they get together in the manga either.
Oh,
so
it's 52 years later. They're still not together.
She's still just his assistant, coloring in beta for him on his manga. So,
things I did like, because I don't want to make it sound like it was a complete downer.
No, because it had really good moments.
Yes, I loved that it was a story within a story, and they kind of interspersed scenes from the manga and then scenes from the show. I thought that was really a really cool concept.
I really like that too, because it really showed how he's taking inspiration from the real world and putting it into his manga, which I'm sure a lot of artists do.
And I learned a lot.
I did too, because I've actually never seen a manga be made, so I had no idea they had this weird thing with screen toning where they have to like actually cut out the pieces and glue them on. And I was like, okay, I had no idea, because I was always trying to figure out why they had an X-Acto knife if he's drawing manga in the picture. Well, apparently it's because you actually do have to cut out things.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. And it shows that Nozaki is not infallible, because at one point he doesn't know how to do perspective, so he has his character standing on
a box, the eternal box. Yeah, he can't draw backgrounds. That's why he has to have Hori come in, because he can't do any of the backgrounds.
His cadre of unpaid labor that he has, what is it, 4 people?
Hori is the only one who slightly gets paid, because Nozaki actually writes scripts for the drama club, but it's a secret that Hori is helping him on the shoujo manga, which is why Kashima gets the completely wrong idea when she finds this manga in his backpack with all these bookmarks.
Oh, that was funny.
And it leads to the funniest moment, I think, in the entire series, because she thinks now he wants to dress up as the princess and be like the girl of the drama and so on. So she starts lending him skirts and frilly shirts and
opens
stuff
up
like
his
that.
locker. I thought you might like this.
And it's just like, and he just is getting angrier and angrier
That
as
was
it
funny.
goes on.
My funniest moment was when Mikorin models for the art club.
Oh my god.
And he becomes really comfortable, and he starts getting a big ego and careless with his words, and then promises that he would model again.
In the nude.
In the nude.
Which there's no way he's actually going to be able to do that. He'll just die completely.
Oh, yeah.
He gets so easily embarrassed.
You can't even talk to a girl.
But I love the fact that Nozaki knows him well enough that he is like, oh yeah, he's going to do this. He's going to say something stupid now. And just can easily peg him exactly with his character. Which kind of makes me wonder if Nozaki actually really likes Mikorin as Mikorin and not just as his inspiration for his manga.
Yeah, I should probably give Nozaki the benefit of the doubt a little bit more.
Because Nozaki and him actually played that dating sim game together, and Nozaki didn't have to do that.
That was funny as well.
Oh, that was another favorite scene of mine, was them playing the dating sim together, and Nozaki is horrible at it, and he writes romance manga. So
I thought the music was really fun too.
Oh, the opening and ending for the series were amazing. I really love the songs they chose for that. This one I actually listened to the ending quite a few times instead of skipping through it like I normally would.
Me too.
And I love the opening, the animation they did on there where they're fighting the Tanukis with manga artist tools. It's just like, we're going to give you an action-filled opening. None of this is in the series, but we're going to give you some action just because we can.
It was very clever, for sure.
Yeah.
Should I hit you with some questions?
All right. What kind of questions do you have?
So let me see. As you were calling them honorifics when we were talking earlier. Senpai and putting kun on the end of names. I'm just curious about that.
The Japanese language is very complicated at times, which is why I have never actually managed to learn it. But some of the few common things that get brought over to the States when they do translations are some of the honorifics. Not all of them, but some of them. Senpai is pretty much what a younger student would call an older student. So like Kashima is actually a year below Hori. Hori is above her in the school ranking, so it's like she would be a freshman and he would be a senior type idea. So she refers to him as senpai because he's above her like that. There's one part in the series where someone refers to someone as their kohai, and you would never actually, I believe, call somebody that as an honorific. At least I've never seen that happen, but like in conversation you could say so-and-so is my kohai. That means that they're younger than you. They're lower down than you.
Oh, right.
So like you're the senior referring to the freshman type idea. And then the other one, kun. So apparently kun can occasionally be used for women, but the one website I found that said it was only in very specific situations and then wouldn't say what they were.
Oh.
So
that doesn't help.
That does not help at all. But apparently it is mostly used for teenagers and young men, used like when you're talking to a classmate or something, or a younger brother or a younger man. It's not a formal honorific. It's just something that's kind of just used like because like Chiyo is in the same class as him and he's a teenager, so she just calls him Nozaki-kun because he's her classmate.
Oh, okay. So more casual.
Yeah, it's more of a casual just if there had been a teacher, we managed to have a 12-episode series set in a school, and there's not a single teacher in the school, apparently. But if we'd had a teacher show up, they would refer to them as sensei, because that's a term that's used for a teacher or a professional career person, like a doctor. But it's like somebody who's in like a professional career. So as a librarian, you would probably be a sensei.
Oh, I like that. I'm going to start making everybody call me that.
Also, somebody who has a high skill and is very accomplished in something is also called a sensei. So like a musician or a like a novelist would be a sensei.
That's probably the one term that I was familiar with, just from movies.
Yeah. A lot of movies, they refer to, like in dojos and stuff, they'll often refer to the martial artist as a sensei because he's teaching them how to do it.
Okay.
The other one I think we ran into in this anime, not as often, was Chan. So like I think they referred to Chiyo as Sakura-chan at one time. And that is a kind of a cute honorific, usually used for like younger girls, babies, can be used for grandparents, can be used for pets. It's kind of like anything that's cute. And it's again not a very it's a very informal thing to use. You will not use it with strangers, though. This is only done with people you actually know.
So
and have
familiarity
a
and term of endearment. Then.
Yeah. So I think it was Mikarin who called her Sakura-chan, and it's only towards the end of the series, after they've known each other, I think for like 6 months in real world time on the show.
Okay.
So
that makes sense.
It's a much more personal.
This is a kind of a dopey question.
Okay.
But what is the difference between manga and anime?
Manga is the written form, and it is the one that most people are familiar with in book form, that looks like what we would call a comic book or a graphic novel. That is manga. But anime, which is how you pronounce it in Japan, is anime. Here we pronounce it as anime because we pronounce A's differently. Is actually just means animation. Literally straight up means animation. So if you were to go to Japan and say, I'm going to go watch an anime, that could be anything from a Disney movie to the latest cartoon on TV.
Oh, okay.
So, and that gets into a very nerdy discussion because Netflix has been coming out with series and calling them Netflix anime. And not a single person who has worked on that series or studio is actually associated with Japan at all.
Whoa.
It's just done in anime style. So is it still an anime?
Yeah, that could be up for debate for sure.
So technically, by just the definition of anime being animation, yes, it is. But in the States, when you talk about anime, you are talking about what is made in Japan. And so for a rated R example, Castlevania, made in Texas, as far as I know. The studio is located in Texas. The writer is American. The voice actors are all American or British. I can't remember what Richard Armitage is. But he has a very British-y sounding voice to me. It has nothing to do with Japan whatsoever, and yet Netflix insists on calling it an anime.
Ooh.
So is it?
Yeah, that's a whole podcast in itself.
Yeah, that's a whole long discussion that is ongoing and has been ongoing. There is a very old term for anime that was used, I think, back in the 80s and early 90s, which sounds really stupid, but it's one I think will never come back, but I think does a better job of describing it. They called it Japanimation.
I remember that.
Yeah, and that directly meant cartoons that come from Japan. It was a slurring of Japan in animation. Mm-hmm. And in some ways, I'm like, well, maybe we need to go back to a term like that because now everybody's calling everything anime.
Need a distinction.
But not just the Japanese stuff.
Yeah. So do you think, last question.
Okay.
Do you think that they end up together?
I'm going to say if they wind up together, it's not going to be in high school. And it's probably going to be in college or something. And Chiyo is just going to have to straight up hit him over the head with a brick and finally get him to listen to her instead of halfway listening to her. Granted, she started all this with poor word choice. Because this all started because she walked up to him in the first 5 minutes of the series and said, I am your biggest fan. And he gives her an autograph. Yeah, if you're a manga artist and somebody comes up to you and says, I'm your biggest fan, that's not a love confession. That is a, I want your autograph.
I don't think I've ever used that as a pickup line.
Yeah. Which, I mean, she was incredibly nervous and everything, but I'm still like, poor word choice is what led to this entire issue, and now you're stuck with it.
Yeah. But we wouldn't have had the series, I guess, if she didn't utter that
we
phrase.
wouldn't have had the series. She wouldn't have wound up being his unofficial assistant.
Well, thanks for indulging all my newbie questions.
Well, thank you for being willing to watch an anime on my say-so.
Yeah. My husband said he was going to tease me because he watches anime and he couldn't quite believe his eyes. But, I'm open to new ideas, new suggestions.
Yeah, has he watched a shoujo anime, though?
I'll have to ask. Okay. Well, this was fun.
It was. Thank you so much for coming on and being willing to talk to me about anime. I look forward to seeing you again.
Yeah, for real. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everyone, for joining Cheryl and I today as we talked about Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun. And next month, we're going to be talking about a very different anime. This one is in the isekai genre, and we're going to be talking about the first 13 episodes of Log Horizon. I'm going to start letting you guys know what the anime is we're talking about next time before that episode gets posted. So if you want to watch it, you have a chance to before it goes up. If you guys have any questions, comments, thoughts about anything we've talked about or any other anime that's currently airing, feel free to email me at the email address in the show notes. And also feel free to give me any recommendations of things we should talk about on here. There's a lot of anime out there, and I have a lot of watching to do, so anything you want to recommend, feel free to do so. And with that, I hope you all have a great month and a lot of fun watching a ton of anime.